In a small town nestled between verdant hills and glistening streams, there lived a girl named Elara, known far and wide for her kindness. From the moment she could walk, she had a heart that overflowed with compassion. She would help her neighbors carry their groceries, share her lunch with classmates who had forgotten theirs, and even volunteer at the local animal shelter every weekend. Elara's laughter was infectious, and her smile could brighten the darkest of days. Despite her unwavering kindness, life had a way of testing her spirit. The townsfolk admired her, but they also took her for granted. They leaned on her during their tough times, expecting her to always be there, always ready to lend a hand or a listening ear. While Elara never complained, a quiet ache began to settle in her heart. She often found herself feeling isolated, as though her kindness had built a wall around her, one that kept her from forming deeper connections. One summer afternoon, as the sun dipped low in the sky, Elara decided to take a walk through the town square. The air was warm, and the scent of blooming flowers filled her lungs. She noticed a group of girls from her school gathered near the fountain, their laughter ringing out like music. As she approached, she overheard them gossiping about her. "She's so nice, it's almost annoying," one girl said, her voice dripping with disdain. "I can't believe she thinks she can save everyone." Elara felt a pang in her chest. She had never sought to be a savior, she simply wanted to help. She turned on her heel and walked away, a lump forming in her throat. That night, as she lay in bed, she pondered the weight of her kindness. Why did it seem that those who gave the most often bore the heaviest burdens? The next day, she decided to visit her grandmother, a wise woman who had seen many seasons of life. Elara often turned to her for advice, and today was no different. As she sat on the porch, the sun casting a warm glow over them, she shared her feelings of hurt and confusion. "Grandma, why do kind people always seem to suffer the most? I try to do good, but it feels like no one appreciates it. Sometimes I wonder if I should just stop being so nice," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Her grandmother looked at her with gentle eyes, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Oh, my dear Elara, kindness is a double-edged sword. It can bring joy, but it can also invite pain. People may take your kindness for granted, but that doesn't mean it is not valuable. It is in your nature to care, and that is a beautiful gift." "But it hurts, Grandma. I feel like I'm always giving and never receiving," Elara replied, frustration bubbling beneath her calm exterior. "Life has a way of balancing itself, my child. Sometimes the kindness you give may not return to you in the way you expect. But remember, there is strength in vulnerability. Your kindness can inspire others, even if it feels like a thankless task," her grandmother said, her voice steady and reassuring. With her grandmother's words echoing in her mind, Elara returned home, determined to find a way to channel her kindness into something meaningful. She began volunteering at the local community center, where she organized events for children and families in need. It was there that she met a boy named Leo, a quiet soul who often sat alone in the corner, sketching in his notebook. Curiosity piqued, Elara approached him one day. "What are you drawing?" she asked, peering over his shoulder. Leo looked up, startled, and quickly closed his notebook. "It's nothing," he mumbled, his cheeks flushing. Elara, sensing his discomfort, smiled warmly. "I'd love to see it. I think art is a wonderful way to express ourselves." After a moment of hesitation, Leo opened his notebook, revealing a series of intricate drawings. They depicted scenes of nature, whimsical creatures, and vibrant landscapes. Elara's eyes widened in amazement. "These are incredible. You have a real talent." For the first time, Leo smiled, a spark of pride igniting in his eyes. They began to talk, and Elara learned that Leo had faced his own struggles. He was often bullied at school for being different, and his art was his escape. Elara encouraged him to share his work with others, and together they organized an art show at the community center. As the day of the show approached, Elara poured her heart into promoting it, reaching out to friends and family, hoping to gather a crowd. On the night of the event, the center was filled with laughter and chatter. Elara watched as Leo's face lit up with joy, his artwork finally receiving the recognition it deserved. But as the night wore on, Elara noticed a group of her classmates sneering at Leo's work. "This is so weird," one of them said, their laughter cutting through the air like a knife. Elara felt a familiar ache in her heart, the sting of seeing someone she cared about being hurt. She stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. "Leo's art is beautiful and unique. You should respect his talent instead of mocking it." The laughter stopped and the group exchanged bewildered glances. Elara felt a surge of courage, fueled by her desire to protect Leo. She continued, "Kindness doesn't always mean being nice. Sometimes it means standing up for what is right, even when it's hard." The tension in the room shifted, and for the first time, Leo looked at her with gratitude shining in his eyes. Elara realized that her kindness had not gone unnoticed. It had inspired Leo to find his voice, and it had also ignited a fire within her. Days turned into weeks, and Elara and Leo grew closer. They became inseparable friends, sharing their dreams, fears, and aspirations. Elara found solace in Leo's presence, and he, in turn, found strength in her unwavering support. Together, they navigated the challenges of adolescence, discovering that kindness could be a source of resilience. However, just as Elara began to feel a glimmer of hope, life threw another curveball her way. One afternoon, she received a call from her mother, her voice trembling with worry. "Elara, your grandmother is in the hospital. It's serious." Panic surged through Elara as she rushed to the hospital, her heart heavy with dread. When she arrived, she found her grandmother lying in a hospital bed, frail and pale. The sight shattered her. "Grandma, please, you have to get better," Elara pleaded, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her grandmother reached for her hand, her grip surprisingly strong. "Elara, my love, don't cry for me. I've lived a good life, full of love and kindness. Remember, even in darkness there is light. You have a gift, and you must continue to share it," she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. Elara spent every moment by her grandmother's side, sharing stories, laughter, and tears. But as the days passed, her grandmother's condition worsened. One night, as Elara sat holding her hand, her grandmother took a deep breath and closed her eyes for the last time. The loss felt like a tidal wave crashing over Elara, leaving her gasping for air. She felt as though the very ground beneath her feet had been ripped away. In the days that followed, grief enveloped her, and she struggled to find her footing. The kindness that had once fueled her now felt like a burden, a reminder of the pain she had to endure. But as she sat alone in her room, surrounded by memories of her grandmother, she recalled the wisdom her grandmother had imparted. Even in darkness, there is light. With a deep breath, Elara made a decision. She would honor her grandmother's legacy by continuing to spread kindness, even in her pain. With newfound resolve, Elara returned to the community center, where she poured her heart into organizing a memorial art show in her grandmother's honor. She invited artists from all over town to contribute, determined to create a space where love and kindness could flourish. On the night of the show, the center buzzed with energy. People from all walks of life came together, sharing stories of their own struggles and triumphs. Elara felt her grandmother's presence in every corner of the room, a gentle reminder that kindness could heal even the deepest wounds. As the evening unfolded, Elara took a moment to reflect. She realized that her kindness, though often met with challenges, had the power to create ripples of change. It had brought Leo out of his shell, it had united the community in celebration, and it had allowed her to find strength in her vulnerability. In that moment, Elara understood why kind people sometimes suffer the most. It was not because kindness was a weakness, but rather because it required a brave heart willing to face the storms of life. Kindness was a choice, a commitment to see the beauty in others, even when the world felt heavy. As the night came to a close, Leo approached Elara, his eyes shining with admiration. "You did this, Elara. You turned your pain into something beautiful. Your kindness has inspired so many people." Elara smiled through her tears, realizing that while she had suffered, she had also grown. She had learned that kindness was not just about giving. It was about connecting, about forging bonds that could withstand the trials of life. In that small town, under the glow of the stars, Elara understood that her journey was just beginning. She would continue to face challenges, but she would do so with an open heart, knowing that kindness was a light that could shine even in the darkest of times. And as she looked around at the faces of those she had touched, she felt a sense of purpose blossom within her. A purpose rooted in love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that kindness could change the world.